Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Cameron. I am a senior finance major here at the University of Florida, and as you can tell by the title of this video, here today I will be talking to you about how I consistently was able to get a 4.0 GPA during my time in college. Now before I go any further, quick disclaimer, no, my cumulative GPA is not a 4.0, unfortunately. I had a pretty tough first semester of fall 2018 where I did not get a 4.0, and I had to do a lot of work to come back from that. Fortunately, I went a few years of getting a 4.0 each semester that's gotten me to the current GPA I have now of a 3.87. I think it's really important to mention that obviously your grades and GPA is not the end-all be-all with respect to how successful you are or how you're viewed or your chances of getting a job, but it definitely is a pretty good indication of your ability to work hard and retain information. And I also need to say I was able to get a 4.0 on the semesters that are regarded the most academically challenging here at the University of Florida. When I was taking the accounting classes, business finance, some of those really tough business courses that us finance majors have to take and pass, I was able to make it through all of these classes with A's using the very concepts that I'm going to talk about in this video here today. So I had quite a bit of reflection earlier on kind of what it was that allowed me to do so well at UF academically over the last few years. After a lot of thinking, I was able to break it down into 6 distinct sections that I'm going to talk about here in this video. The first thing that allowed me to succeed academically at UF was my mindset. I think it is so important that you believe that you can achieve that 4.0 or that A in a challenging class. It really is so important to have high self-efficacy, not just in school, but in life. Honestly, a lot of times life can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you think that you are going to be successful or that you are going to do well in a class or meet a certain person, chances are that's how things are going to work out for you. And I know people probably have differing opinions on this, but that is definitely the case in my life. I have been able to manifest the life that I currently live, but at the same time, I realized I didn't get here by accident. It also took a lot of hard work. But the idea that you have to have the right mindset is so important. I really am a firm believer in positive affirmations and, having good inner thoughts about yourself. I know it can be really challenging while in college, and it's quite common to run into imposter syndrome and things like that. But I'm telling you, if you believe that you can do something, you can do it. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that my first semester at UF, I really didn't do too well. And at that point, it would have been easy for me to give up and say, you know what, you're just not meant to get good grades. But instead, I completely shifted my mindset around. I told myself, you know what, you are smart, you are capable, and you can accomplish anything you want to do. And that is really when everything changed for me. Also, just being real, you can't be afraid of a tough class. You can't be afraid of a tough major, a tough semester. What is your reasoning for coming to college? Most likely to get a good job. You think getting a good job or working that good job is going to be easy? It's not going to be demanding? That's just not the case. The grind does not stop as soon as you finish college. Most people would say this is the easiest time. So it's so important to kind of be able to lock in right now, get those habits established, get that mindset in place where you believe that you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to, because chances are you're going to graduate, you're going to get a job, and you're just going to be hit with even more adversity. So it's really time to tackle that skill of overcoming this adversity while in college, and it all starts with the mindset. The second way I was able to succeed in college was by behaving the way that I thought an ideal student would behave. I've mentioned it a lot in other videos, but the concept and idea behind faking it till you make it really is powerful. Although you may struggle with believing that you are a top tier student, which kind of goes into that first issue I mentioned, if you just act like a top tier student and you put in the hours, you're paying attention in class, you're taking notes, you're reviewing, you're doing practice problems, you're faking it, doing all these things will eventually turn you into exactly what that is, and that is a good student. So do all of these things. Be a tryhard. I know back in high school, it was always like, oh, I don't want to make it look like I'm trying too hard for any class. Forget that. You're in college now. It's time to grind. No one is going to be making fun of you in 2 years when you are ahead of everybody else. You've got the job that everybody wants, and all of your dreams are coming true. Also, going along these lines, I think it is so important to make to-do lists every single day. I am a strong advocate for to-do lists. I write one every single night, and I think it's important that you write as many things and as much detail as possible on your to-do list. This will just make your day so much easier if you can wake up and see exactly what you need to do, what you need to check off. And I always talk about being extremely aspirational with your to-do list. I always try to put more on my to-do list than I reasonably think I can accomplish, because chances are I actually will end up accomplishing all of that. That way, if and when I finish everything on my to-do list, I will be even more ahead of my goals for the day. Also, another thing that goes along with this idea is kind of the learning process. I found that I was always able to pay much better attention in classes when I was able to apply what I was learning to my own personal life or career goals. Now, I understand this can be challenging in some classes where you might not see too much of a correlation with what you want to do long term. This might be the case with a lot of general education classes, but I truly do believe that if you try hard enough, you can find some detail of the class that you can relate to your own life or where you want to take your career. And when doing that, it then makes it seem so much more important and also just enjoyable to you. Also, the final thing I'm going to talk about with this topic is I recommend getting an iPad and using it to take cool notes. I know when I first got my iPad Pro here, I was so excited to take notes on it that, I was looking forward to lectures and I was looking forward to going through and reviewing practice problems. These were things I wasn't necessarily looking forward to before, but because this made me excited, it was a new tool to use and to enhance my learning, it really helped so much. So I definitely recommend an iPad. I feel like I talk about it in every video, but this is definitely my best purchase ever. The third thing is something that one of my favorite YouTubers, Ali Abdaal, always talks about, and that is falling in love with the process. Honestly, getting good grades becomes a lot easier when you enjoy what you're doing. Like I said before, when I first got my iPad, I got excited to take notes. And honestly, as you start to learn things and math problems and quantitative stuff doesn't necessarily become challenging, it's more so just working through a set process to get to a solution. It doesn't become as scary, and honestly, it becomes quite satisfying. I think over the years, I definitely did just fall in love with the process of working hard. Every single day when I wake up, I am excited to tackle my to-do list, to get a lot of things done. And I think that is one of the reasons that I'm in the position I'm in today. Also, when you fall in love with the process, it makes it a lot easier to maintain the intensity of working hard every day. If instead you're just shooting for that end goal of a good grade on an exam or an A at the end of the semester, then it's too easy to get lost in that and you're not really paying attention to what needs to get done on a daily to get to that end goal. Also, that can just put a lot of pressure on you. When you're focused one day at a time and doing all that you can do on a specific day, it then alleviates a lot of pressure because you can sleep well at night knowing that you did everything in your power to prepare yourself and to get ready for whatever is to come. I know this was a really huge aspect for me when I was taking some challenging classes, when it felt so overwhelming at times. It was really important that I was able to break down exactly what I wanted to get done that specific day. Then when I would finish it and I would get it done, I felt that I did everything I could do and I could relax and move on to the next day. The fourth thing that I learned is that it really is all about discipline. Motivation really only lasts so long. In order to do something for a long period of time, it really takes discipline. The classic example of this is the bodybuilder. He doesn't go to the gym because he's extremely motivated every day. He goes to the gym and works out hard because he's disciplined. And that really is the same case for me with my schoolwork, with just this overall grind that I call my life. At this point, this is just what I do. So any deviation from that norm feels very weird for me. And I'm really grateful that I've spent these last few years building this discipline. And that has kind of made it easier for me to work this hard day in and day out because I'm used to it at this point. But this really is one of those things that I think a lot of top students will tell you, and that is that they're just disciplined. Most likely they learned this at a young age. In high school, they weren't really slacking off. They were really good. They actually were the ones who read the suggested readings for the AP classes, did all of that. I was not on that boat. Unfortunately, I had to learn that in college, but I cannot emphasize it enough. It really, at the end of the day, comes down to discipline over motivation. Another way that I was able to do so well in school is that I was able to find like-minded individuals and surround myself with them. It's important that you are around people that want to succeed academically or professionally just as much as you do. There's the age-old saying of you are the result of the 5 people you spend the most time around, and that 100% applies to your time in college. If you're around people who just love playing video games and slacking off, going out every single night, most likely that will become your lifestyle. I've been very fortunate in my own life to have a really good balance of friends who both motivate me to still have that fun, but at the same time, focus on my schoolwork, focus on my career growth, things like that. And that's what's allowed me to get to kind of this balance that I have in my life currently. Also, it's super helpful to have people who will just hold you accountable. So I've been very fortunate that within my fraternity, there are a lot of business and finance majors. So I'm often taking a class with a lot of other people that I know. And with that, we're always able to kind of remind ourselves of upcoming deadlines and study together when it's almost exam time. This accountability is so important and is something that is talked about in pretty much every circle about how important it is to accomplishing a goal. The sixth and final thing I'm going to talk about today is to make sure that you reward yourself. So this is where my ideology kind of differs from David Goggins and embracing the suck. I definitely think it is important to enjoy the process, but then also to reward yourself during the process. I know for myself, I definitely am a sucker for iced coffee and energy drinks. So a lot of the times when I have a ton of work that I need to do, I usually will implement somewhere on my to-do list where I can go grab a coffee or a drink from Wawa. And it's not even that I just come back and just sit and enjoy it. Most of the time, I just come back, I put it down on the desk right next to me, but at least I have that to sip on. So you can find a lot of different ways to reward yourself, whether it's a snack or a drink or even just 30 minutes to watch your favorite show on Netflix. I think it is important to reward yourself throughout the day and celebrate your accomplishments. I think rewarding yourself in these ways really helps so much with kind of that balance. I know during exam time, it can be super high stakes and high pressure, and you might feel that you need to just grind and spend the entire day studying, up until when you go to sleep at night. And from my own experience, I've always performed a lot better on exams when I give myself a hard stop at the end of the night to finish my studying, finish my work, and just watch some Netflix, watch a movie, and just relax and enjoy myself. This really allows me to kind of refuel and recharge for the next day. This is one of those things that I've really learned in the last year or so. Before that, honestly, I was in the same camp as grinding nonstop till 3 a.m. before an exam, and that just wasn't healthy and honestly added way too much stress to my life. And since then, now in my senior year, I've kind of learned the way my body works, the way my mind works, and it always results in a much better end result when I give myself time to de-stress at the end of the day before I go to sleep. So those are the 6 concepts that I implemented into my own life over the last few years to get great grades here at the University of Florida, accomplish 4.0s several semesters in a row, and ultimately get me to where I am today. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. It really helps out the channel grow. Also, as always, if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to me on Instagram right here at Galbraith. And with all this being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.